does evil sound like? How does one compose a lie? In Richard Wagner's world there's a musical palette that contains not only the primary colors, but every shade of a color. Chromatism. When it comes to chromatism in Wagner, many people immediately think of Tristan and Isolde, and rightly so. Yet the systematic breaking down of the natural boundaries of harmony, the true revolution of the chromatic language, begins for Wagner as early as Das Rheingold. Whilst nature, the god's whole Valhalla, or gold in its original state, are depicted in radiant major chords, chromatism is the element that disrupts these static states. Today, we hear how Alberich disturbs nature with chromatic dissonances, how he works his magic with a helmet of invisibility, and how Loge commands the entire chromatic range. In this episode, we explore the psychological impact of the music, which is particularly fascinating in the case of chromatism. Let us imagine the opening minutes of Rheingold, a pure E-flat major triad. But then at the line "Better guard the sleeper's bed," we hear notes outside of the main key for the first time. At this point the original scale is abandoned. The mood shifts. The safety of the Rhine Maidens is an illusion. Chromatism functions as a harmonic warning signal. The bright, idealized world of diatonicism is literally clouded by the chromatic coloring of a diminished seventh chord. Alberich's motif too is characterized by slipping sequences and a rhythm that goes against the grain. It symbolizes his alienation in this harmonic world. Alberich is not part of the river system, he is a foreign body, and the chromatism and his unruly rhythm are the tools used to disrupt this order. This slipping then becomes his own motif. A good half an hour later, Alberich has been rebuffed by the Rhine Maidens, has stolen their golden pension fund and forged a golden ring from it. One has to console oneself somehow. Meanwhile, a few floors above, Wotan's joy at the completion of his new stately villa was short-lived, for, unfortunately, the master builders are insisting on the agreed payment, the goddess of eternal youth Freya. Who can blame them? At last, the long-awaited chief diplomat appears, on whose negotiating skills nothing less than the survival of the god depends. Without Lady Freya, the supply of vital vitamins would be in acute danger. Whilst the other gods attempt to legitimize their power through massive diatonic brass motifs, Loge emphasizes his Mephistophelian superiority and manipulative rhetoric.
Meintest du so, den du geschlossen den schlimmen Handel zu flicken? Wie, welchen Handel hätte ich geschlossen? Wohl was wie den Riesen auf dem Rate du taugst. Zu tiefen und Höhen treibt mich mein Haar. Haus und Tiefe haben wir nicht.
The chief diplomat has done it again. With a certain amount of chequebook diplomacy, a negotiated solution has been found. Though the necessary funding is still lacking. We've heard that before. In the meantime, the building contractors exercise their right of a line, hoist Frau Freya onto their shoulders and temporarily withdraw from business operations. The gods promptly notice their vitamin deficiency that sets in immediately and all begin to flag. That's what happens when you don't eat your fruit in the morning. Wagner depicts this phase of weakness among the gods, their sudden aging, chromatically.
Was ist mit Frika, freut sie sich wenig, doch Wotans grämlichen Grau, was ihr zum Greisen ihn schafft.
So the decision is made that the gods must now steal. Lacking the necessary funds, Wotan pulls himself together and heads down to the cellar together with Loge to snatch the gold from Mr. Alberich. Here, Lord Loge flatters the host's ego so skillfully that the latter feels compelled to demonstrate the latest features of his magic helmet. He swiftly transforms into a Lindworm, a veritable dragon, which is actually completely oversized for the rather cramped quarters here. The harmonies clouds the listener's perception. Just as the helmet deceives the senses, the small semitone steps simulate the reptile's slow, powerful writhing. Here it becomes clear, chromatism can also take a physical form. It is unease made flesh. Finally, we turn to the emotional heart of chromatism. It consists of a simple, descending chromatic second, a classic sigh. Chromatism is not merely an effect. It is the great antagonist of nature. It is foreshadowed in the Rhine Maidens, manifests itself in Alberich's entrance with its slipping dissonant sequences and rhythms. It becomes universal in the figure of Loge, magically shimmering in the motifs of the magic helmet and the Lindworm, and finally an expression of suffering in the lament or woe motif. Chromatism at the ring is thus not only the poison dripped into the world, but also the fuel that drives the drama forward, until in the finale of Götterdämmerung everything sinks into a gigantic chromatic conflagration. In the next video we will look at the love motifs in Rheingold, the great counterpoint to the power motifs. There too we will encounter chromatic elements, for even eroticism can possess something deeply unsettling. See you next time. Auf Wiedersehen and ciao.